With this video, I get to enter a new chapter and a new segment in my channel. The Edge was made in 1997 and is directed by Lee Tamahon. And in this movie, a millionaire played by Anthony Hopkins is on vacation with his wife when he discovers that one of his employees, played by Alec Baldwin, is having an affair with her. These two men set off on a leisure flight, but when it crashes, the two men must fight for survival against a Kodiak bear and the elements, and their own personal vendetta they have going on with each other now, if they are to make it out alive. So I got a few comments. I put out a video asking people to see, and I got several that said review movies from other eras, other times, movies that I've seen that I like, that I would like to recommend. So this is going to be the start of that with this movie, because I think this is a movie that I think while it is respected and it is well known, I don't think necessarily everyone has seen it or has gotten the proper attention that it deserves. So this film came out in the 90s, as I said, and it was sort of like a, I guess you could call it, a film that was respected, but it never was treated as a classic. I don't think if you look at either one of these actors' filmography, it stands out as one of their best films, but I think it still deserves some attention and recognition. So today that's what we're going to be talking about. As for the performances, Anthony Hopkins is fantastic in this movie. He gives a very understated and a very solemn and thoughtful performance. You can constantly feel his character's pain and just how he wishes people saw him differently. There's so many lines in here where he says things to people or he reacts to things, and there's just a sense of just sort of exhaustion at this point. He wants to be happy. He's out here to enjoy himself on this vacation, but even in this, he knows that his wife is unfaithful to him with this man who works for him, played by Alec Baldwin. And Alec Baldwin's character knows this, and he doesn't want to go wrong, so he's kind of getting the suspicion, Anthony Hopkins is, that something could go wrong, and indeed, Alec Baldwin does want to kill him so he can be with his wife. But all that is kind of like this side plot, because when this plane crashes, their pilot is injured, he's very badly hurt, and they're trying to use the survival skills that they have, because if they don't, they're going to die. They're hoping a rescue comes out here for them. But at the same time, there's this giant bear that's stalking them. It's preying on them, it's trying to kill them, and it adds tension, because it's something that you always feel is in the background of this movie. It feels like it's lurking. There's a sense of just danger throughout the entire film. Also, the tension between Alec Baldwin and Anthony Hopkins works so very well. That also adds a layer. But at the same time, a beautiful thing is, this isn't one of those movies where they know survival and it works. A lot of the things they try in this movie fail. The things they thought would work don't work. So when there is success, it feels earned. It's a little bit of give and a little bit of take, and I think that's what makes this movie so well, along with all those conflicts, and somehow managing to take all those story threads, and it is completely evenly written and evenly paced, and it's very investing to watch. The thing about this movie is the cinematography is beautiful. Donald McAlpine is the cinematographer in here, and he has done films like Patriot Games, Romeo plus Juliet. He has such a stacked filmography and has shot some really impressive film. And in here, he does a very good job at just these sweeping shots with wide scope. And also, the movie is very intelligent in that when it has to be completely cinematic, it is. But when it has to be cinematic, but in a very simplistic and realistic way, it does. It knows to kick that down a notch, so that way everything plays out. This movie also is rated R, and I think this is the use of R used well. It's not there just because. It honestly is there because the violence shown is necessary. The language used is a necessity. It's not going out of its way to just be R for the sake of R, for instance. And I could not talk about this movie without mentioning Jerry Goldsmith's iconic score. This is one of his most underrated works. I remember first hearing the music on this disc that my dad burned when I was a kid. My dad had movie themes burned on CDs, and he'd listen to them when we go on drives, go grocery shopping, because we lived out in more of a area that wasn't so close to the city, so it would take 45 minutes sometimes to get to the nearest, place where we could really buy food and things. And he would, put this disc in, and I remember hearing it, and I always thought it was a gorgeous piece. And as I got older, I appreciated it even more, and seeing the movie, the entire soundtrack is beautiful. I don't want to spoil anything about this movie. I think it's a movie you should genuinely go check out. It's really impressive. It's very well made, and I think, again, highly underrated. performances in here, once again, are just excellent. Alec Baldwin gives a very solid performance. This is when he was in the peak, I think, of his career, and he was really just turning in those performances that had an edge to them. He has, like, this likability to him in this movie, but also, like, a dark side, and that just works perfectly. This entire film is excellent to me. I do think there are a few struggles with the movie. At times, the film does feel like it shifts tone, and that was something I've never been crazy fond of. And I do think there is a certain point to this film where it kind of, like, after a certain event takes place, about 3/4 of the movie, the pace begins to slow a little bit, but then I think it does pick up. And as far as I'm concerned, this film is brilliant. It is really well made, and something I think more people should see. I'm going to give The Edge an 8 out of 10. So thank you guys, as always, so much for watching. I appreciate you. I'm so glad to be starting this new segment, and I will see you next time.